Plague by Julie Anderson, published by Claret Press, and this is a political murder thriller that is focused around the Palace of Westminster, so the House of Parliament as we know them today. So it's very much set in London, and a lot of the plot follows the course of the Tyburn River, which is a buried river that flows basically from Hampstead, sort of through into central London to the Houses of Parliament, and it plays a very important role. In order to keep you straight, there is a very good map of London right at the beginning of the book, and as soon as you get a map at the beginning of a book, you know that setting is going to be a very strong feature of the narrative. Also in this is the plague. Now we're talking here the Black Death, the thing that ravaged Europe in the medieval period. People died of bubonic plague, Black Death, and there are still plague pits around many cities, including London, that archaeologists often find. And part of the story here is the fact that plague pits are hosts to modern day murders. And of course, once it leaks out into the press, people become very worried that plague might be spreading amongst the populace. I didn't actually realise that there are still small outbreaks of plague in the world today. The Congo's had one, and so is the West Coast of America. I thought it had been obliterated, but clearly not. So it is in a way quite a relevant book. Cassandra is a disgraced but very highly placed civil servant, and she is working on the first case where there is a plague pit that's been discovered, but there's also a very recent corpse. And as corpses start to pile up, it becomes very clear that people in power in the higher echelons have something to do with this series of murders that are occurring, around London. They seem to be European natives who are being killed. And it is quite a task for her to actually find her way through the political quagmire that seems to be protecting their own. It is very clear that the author is extremely familiar with the workings, both the building and the political shenanigans that go on with them, because she used to work there. So it's almost like you walk in with her and you can kind of feel all the workings and the machinations and corruption. And as the bodies start to pile up, it becomes clear that people in power are finding target victims and using them for their own pleasure, for rape and for eventual murder. And Cassandra has to join up the dots and see if she can get to the heart of what is going on in Westminster. So if you fancy a peek inside the workings of Westminster, Plague by Julie Anderson is a good one to pick up, and it will take you to the dark heart of London.